Okay, welcome back again. So our other half of the split first place Store Champs deck profiles. Yesterday we had GT Goku Spaceship. Today we got Finn. So both of us making it into the finals there, all undefeated until that last round. Both making one game each and then getting into our third game with literally only seconds left in the hour. So really no point playing the third game there. Finn today though to talk about. You'd think it would have a favourable matchup going against GT, but GT player very smart, really denying me the resources, not chucking anything useful under the Unison until really late game when it's not even worth stealing the Unison. So talk about that a bit later. But for now, just going through the leader. Finn, really quickly, swing, draw a card, either awaken at 4 life and draw 2, if you want more advantage that way, or eat a battle card. When you do, flip over, draw a card, go down to 6. So no untap or no extra draw there. You do lose out a tiny bit, but it is worth it to awaken at the higher life and be a bit more defensive. Just something to note as well, you can really use this as free removal. So if you are swinging really heavy early game, not something Finn tends to do, but if you are pushing your opponent down, they use a blocker negate, for example. You can use your activate main to eat it. Since it's a blocker, it doesn't technically go under the leader. You won't awaken, but you will remove that battle card from the game. Just get rid of the blocker for free, activate main. Like I said, you won't awaken, so you could technically do that at 4 life. Eat the token negate, not awaken, just remove their blocker, swing, draw, awaken, draw another 2, and then do whatever you want to do and draw another card by absorbing on the other side. A lot of people usually draw and steal something at the first part of their turn. Try and save it if you can, because there are annoying things that come up in the meta, like those blocker negates, or they might just play battle cards during your turn that might be an extra 5k combo you want to steal at the end. It is important to always try and leave a skillless in play when they start their turn though, so you've got your floodgate live. However, if they've swung with one of their battle cards last turn, you can go the entire turn without absorbing anything, and just at the last second absorb that one, you know you're still safe. But yeah, Finn, pretty well known in the meta now, so going through that one. Got our winner trunks there, which is cool as well. So going through the basic stuff to start with, just your defense. You've got your 4 floodgate, the absorption of doom. You shouldn't be running really any less than 4. This is really half the reason to run the deck. You just got a 1 energy or a free floodgate if you ditch a card. Really easy to set up that skillless thing, like I was saying as well. So make sure you either wait till the end and absorb it so you've got the skillless, or if you really feel like you're going to be floodgated yourself, just absorb something straight away and then pass back to them when they do it. But don't have to go through that too much. Most people know what that one does. You only get 2 more swings for the turn, sort of like a dormant. 2 petrification as well. Obviously one of the best black negates at the moment, one of the best black negates in the game, regardless of being black. But with this one, negate the attack first up for your energy. If you want to ditch a card, you get to choose another battle card in your opponent's battle area, ignoring barrier, can't swing, can't be comboed with, can't activate skills. Obviously great against boss monsters in the meta like U7's Goku. You've got Cell's 9 drop and a few other things around the place. Also really good as a utility piece as well. If you want to negate, just to lock a battle card so the next turn you can absorb it with your leader so that they don't combo it off. If you don't have one of these in hand and you feel like they're going to combo their whole board just to get around that skillless mechanic, you can petrify something. They can't do anything with it unless they evolve on it or something else. But you lock it down and then it's still free to absorb next turn. But yeah, petrification, pretty mandatory in the meta at the moment, especially if you're running more of a controller mid-range style deck. 2 of your token negates, you could bump it up to 3. 4 would be way too much and 1 wouldn't be enough. It's just really good in combination with that floodgate. So you've got 2 swings left for the turn after this. This is free, and then you block if they haven't blown it up. So that's an entire turn gotten out of for 1 or 0 energy if you choose to ditch the card. Unison of choice, you're going for the Bardock. You can run the Boo if you want to be a little bit more themed, but Bardock just works better overall with your strategy. He's a draw regardless, not depending on whether they have battle cards in play. The Floodgate almost never comes up, but it is occasionally useful. And the Spirit Boost actually comes up a lot. When you're playing the Finn, you can warp so many useful battle cards in their drop. Draw Monkeys, Ribrians, recycle pieces. If you're versing a Bulma, which I versed, you can end up warping like their super combos so they can't grab them back with the Videl loop. Just stuff like that is really handy. And you are a black deck, so you're probably running Vegeta super combo at this point. Again, why would you run anything else? I can see you running actually the new I think it's Gravy. He's the 4-drop. He is searchable, so that might be worth it, but the Dig is just so much more useful. 4 of your Toa, you've got your 1-drop Unison or Demon Realm or Android Searcher, 3 or less. Searcher's half your deck, but your important pieces like your fins and your mirrors are probably going to be what you want to go for. If you don't open that Unison, you really want one of those. To go along with that, you've got 4 other draw Toas. You really just want to turn 1 where you can draw and get a Toa in the drop early for your later overall mirror warp. But 8 turn 1 cycle cards is really good to have. Again, put stuff back in their deck that's dependent on the meta and dependent on the matchup. Again, could be Saiyan Instincts, Ribriannes. If you go against a Wish deck, which isn't as popular at the moment, this is one of the only battle cards that can actually put stuff back that's not specifically a battle card. So you can put back a Dragon Ball as well and stall them possibly 1 turn from Awakening. So got through those ones. Our last 1-drop to round it off, new set card. You've got your Shroom here. This one's a really cool one from the new set. There is a Salsa that does the exact same thing. We're pretty much ignoring the first top part, the Spirit Boost mechanic, but for the bottom half, the auto, once per turn, when your opponent plays a battle card greater than their current energy, it can't attack for the turn. It's not choosing either, it's just the first one, so it gets around barrier. Really useful in the meta at the moment. It's easy to remove because it is 1-drop, but if you play it turn 1 just to avoid some damage, that's great. Finn really wants to get to the late game, so if you slap this down turn 1 against U7, they can't swing in their turn 2 at least. They can't swing with Android 17, the double striker. They can't swing with Frieza, the dual attacker. Literally none of it works for them because you're just going to choose it and lock it down. Against GT, it might spare you a turn as well against the Crit Boy or the Barrier Boy. Most decks will go up to pretty high battle cards early on, so it'll hit almost every deck in the meta that you can think of. Going to the Finn package as well, you've got 3 Unison Absorber. Pretty mandatory at the moment. So many decks relying on Unisons. I rarely play it for the tap 1 combo. I'm almost always hard casting it, because if you're playing it on your opponent's turn and they charismatic villain it, you don't get the Unisabsorb effect. It'll die first. If you play it on your opponent's turn and they Yamcha it, you won't get the effect. It'll die first. It's just way safer to tap 2 on your turn for it. They can't Yamcha a battle card that's being hard casted, so you're almost always going to be safe with that way if you play properly. But getting through that one, going to the next one, you have your absorb target for the bigger boy. This one, the 2-drop, deflect barrier, draw a card. Sometimes you're literally just playing it to cycle through your deck further, but he can sit on board early and absorb into the big boy whenever you want. Spirit Boost 1 goes into the 8-drop. 8-drop wants you to Spirit Boost as well, so it ends up costing you 1 less energy, but 1 more Spirit Boost. Really depends on what you see more of value there. It is nice though that you can turn 2 play Unison, turn 3 play this with an energy left up for your Floodgate, and turn 4 come into your big boy mirror and your Finn. Puts on a lot of pressure. So that big Finn coming in there. If you play him by his own effect, it's Spirit Boost 1, tap 3 energy when you're at 4 or more. You have to sack a card under your leader to play him and do that as well. So there is that disadvantage. With this one, you can play him, immediately go on top with him, absorb the entire board, and you haven't used your leader effect yet, so you can leave it till a little bit later, sack one of their tokens or something if you absorb that as well, which is really handy. But also, activate main, restand in by sacking a card under your leader, so it's a little bit of removal there. The deck, honestly, it has a lot of spot removal, but nothing's really permanent. You end up giving everything back. That's why those floodgates are super important. There is also the SR Finn. I don't run it in the main board just because it feels bad against most matchups. Most of the time you're tapping 2 to remove 1 or 2 battle cards, which isn't fantastic. A lot of boards have barrier. You can't choose barrier, so they'll end up just getting rid of 1 card. It is in the side and it comes in for a few matchups, but not really needed in the main. 2 Mechikabura. If you know the meta, this will always be your best friend. Plus in this deck it's searchable, so why not main it? A lot of the time if it gets late game, I've just got the energy up, you may as well use it. You can either call your opponent's next big play, or you can call a floodgate. So if you're up against blue, you might call the 4-drop Vegeta, GT, whatever else you're doing. You might go against green and call the 2-drop Boo or the 4-drop Toppo and red. It's good to play proactively with Meki as well though. And 2 of your Deborah counterplay. It's really sad that this is still the best black counterplay after, what's it, this came out in sets, is it 9 or 8? Yeah, it came out set 9, so we are currently set 17, and this is still the best black counterplay. Bit sad, but hopefully a bit more of support in the future, now that they've nuked black. Coming into your other win-con package, so you had your mirror fin there before, coming into the mirror now, so we have 4 of our promo, just an overwhelm for 3, draw 1 and warp 1 if it does come into play, and then a activate main at the bottom there to union absorb, just tapping 3 energy when you're at 4 or more, slip a Tora underneath from the warp, put a mirror on top either from the warp ideally or from the hand, and the union absorb on the big mirror, boom, 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 makes them warp 3 cards from hand, their choice, and he's a huge double striker. You could probably get away for 3 and 3 if you're just paying it for the engine, but mirror's a fantastic overall to finish games regardless, so you may as well have more in the deck, because Finn has a lot of low swings with the leader and the unison and everything. It's nice to be able to finish the game with the mirror. This card as well, also a really nice cycle piece. So even if you're at 3 energy or you don't have the energy open to actually do the union absorb, you can play it for free, bait some counter plays, or just get this cycle, see a few more pieces you need to see. Getting through that one though, almost rounding off the deck, you have 3 1-ofs. You have your Masked Saiyan because you're black and it's fantastic to bait people. Even though most good players won't play into it now, it's always good to have the threat of having 1 energy open and just denying them their final swing with the jumper. Fantastic. It's a good overwhelm as well sometimes, but yeah, getting through that one. You've got your jumper because we're playing Dragon Ball and this is important 17 sets later. Eventually you're going to get to the point where someone's at 2, mirror jumper, why not? And your last one, Kai Secret Rare, the brainwashed version. I play Finn a little bit more control-y than I do aggressive, so this one's probably the one for me. Only costs 1 energy, so you can use it in conjunction with your Floodgate. Tap 1, play it, Servant, so it's a 50k double strike. Tap another one, sack it from the game. Your opponent can't attack next turn with anything but a leader unless they crit alive as a cost. To be honest, I use this one as the Floodgate effect more than I do for the pressure, but it is really nice to finish off with another 50k double strike. Save this in hand for when you run out of your floodgates. So ideally, Finn draws so much, you should at least see probably 3 unless you're really lucky in a game. And this just acts as your 4th or 5th turn of floodgates. It's really nice that Finn has the extra card floodgate. It's a lot less interactable than the battle card versions like Boo or Topo. The only thing you're really going to get hit by is a yellow or a blue player playing Cooler or Baby. Coming into the sideboard quickly now as well. Stuff that any deck could really run and benefit from. Masked Saiyan still doing well in the meta. Again, the main things you're going to be hitting with this one, you can hit U7, but it's really not going to value you too much. You can hit the 17 coming into play. The other 2 are like 19, so it's not really going to work. You can hit GT. It's actually not too bad. It'll stall you a turn. They can neg it pretty early, so it'll really only give you 1 turn, but sometimes 1 turn is all you need. There's a few other niche decks like AOD and stuff that it'll hit. We've got our Kuitsekais as well. Still fantastic in the meta. I think Kuitsekai is a painful card to play against, but it's a necessary evil. The only deck I would not want to play against playing Kuitsekai is Cooler as the Cooler player. It just shuts off your entire game plan. But again, it just denies your opponent playing on your turn, which feels unfair anyway, so it isn't that necessary evil that's needed in the game. 3 Deborah for your hand destruction matches. Again, fantastic in Finn. It's a Demon Realm race, so you're searchable. If your opponent floodgates you with something like Topo or Boo, even better. If you have multiple of these in hand, you just keep swinging, keep drawing. It's fantastic. But otherwise, yeah, just punish those hand control decks that want to get you to 0. So that's the stuff that pretty much anyone should be running at some sort of ratio currently. The other stuff, a bit more specific to black or us, we've got 2 Super Kamehameha for those floodgates. Like I was saying with the absorption of Dune, our own floodgate, we should be seeing like hopefully 3, 4, maybe 5 with the Kai per game so we can make it to the late game. You really don't want to be at low life early on. You shouldn't really be hitting 4 until you're like turn 4 onwards anyway, unless they're really pressuring you. So Super Kamehameha feels a little bit awkward, but it is still 1 energy or free, so it's the best one we have at the moment. I was tinkering with the Devilman as well from, I think it's set 11, the Dark Broly set. He was meant for the Dark Broly deck. He's 2 energy, he denies the play of a 2 or less, and he's a 15k body. He costs 2 though, which is a little bit too much for us when we're trying to play those Finn cards and the mirror cards. He is searchable though, at least, which is nice. So you could try messing around with the Devilman. Like I was saying before as well, you've got those fins. We just move them to the sideboard. Because again, most games, it doesn't really feel like you're gaining too much value by playing it. You're using the floodgate every turn, so they can only swing with 2 cards each turn. You're absorbing their entire board with Finn. You are giving it back, but you're not giving them the combo pieces during your turn to combo with. So removal's not a huge thing. It's more so just getting it off the board when you want to kill them. This one is great against some decks like AOD and stuff where they're spamming all those 5k. Again, they won't be attacking, but 5k combos and 10k combos with the super combo. And your last 2 cards, you got Jiren, because blue, at the moment, they're just relying on 17, winning off the back of 17, especially things like Gamma. Gamma is not going to kill you unless they're playing 17 or you just get a terrible hand. 17 is an auto win con at the moment. You're just tapping 7 to win the game. If you've got an established unison, there's literally nothing your opponent can do apart from drawing like a negate somehow off their life. So it's a necessary evil as well. I wouldn't mainboard it in a best of 3, but if best of 1, you'd probably definitely want to run 1 just to win that blue matchup, which is painful. Just going into the matchups quickly as well, a few things as the Finn player versus 2 GT decks. So again, depending on how the player uses that unison and the slip cards under effect, can be an easy game or a much harder game. If your opponent is denying you the resources of putting their trio underneath or the big cards, it's really not worth absorbing the unison. So you're playing the whole game defending those 15Ks, but you don't really have a window to play the unison absorber. So if you are a GT player, I'd say just hold off late game until you do that one. Also had to play Agents of Destruction. Not too bad, that one. Like I was saying, putting in the Finn SI and that one's pretty good. Get to wipe the whole board for 2 energy, mostly. And then absorb the last battle card. Other one, got to play against the new meta Bulma deck. That one's actually really painful to play against. We both agreed we'd never be playing that matchup again because neither of us did anything for about 7 turns. We both got to about 1 card in deck. It's just recycle blocker after blocker after blocker, and we've got the floodgates so no one can push through. Finn's still a really good deck in the meta though. If you are a black player, I literally only play black, but if you are a black player and you want to play competitively, your only options really are Finn or Hatch. There's a few rogue decks that can still compete. Sin's great if you don't come into a slug player or a absolute annihilation player. A few other things. Meki's great, but it's falls short a lot of the time. It just doesn't have the pieces powerful enough to push through. It's good with the new mirror unison. A few other rogue decks like SS4 Goku's still fun, but it's not really competitive anymore. Gogeta, not competitive anymore. Dark Broly, not competitive anymore. So black's now a fair color. So if you want to play a competitive deck, go for Finn or Hatch, see how you go. But other than that, that is our second profile. We'll get some more matches out the way, also including the fabled Beerus ramp to 16 energy win. We'll get that on the channel for you as well. Cheers, guys.